Gold medal rounds. The loser will be dropping into the bronze medal, but so much at stake for Olympic points and in the Olympic race, as we have our gold medal rematch from Sakurima just a couple weeks ago, and George going right to that serve that has been his go-to. That short jump serve has been devastating this entire season. I'm not sure if that's something George has been working on, but he has gotten so many points off that short jump serve.
Well, I can attest to it. It's been longer than this season because he used to get me on that all the time. And it's just something that everybody's jump floating, but of course the skill, I think George, pound for pound, is just one of the most skillful players on the world tour. And his hand control off an arm swing, then you have no idea whether he's going to cut it across, whether he's going to, well, high line it or line it. Doesn't matter whether it's a jump serve 8 meters back or whether it's up at the net. It looks exactly the same.
And an element to watch in this one is that George and Andre have been blocked just 9 times this entire tournament. And blocking is a huge source of points for this Cuban team. And that's just, this offense is so fun to watch. They just continue to develop. And Alayo is able to have a bludgeon of a swing just fading away past the antenna.
And as well, Alayo, it's kind of, you very rarely see it, but it's more of an indoor slide to that outside play from indoor. But most people don't do it on the beach because it's on the sand and you can't get as high. So he loses so much height by drifting to the left, but he's still able to just generate so many angles and speed and power. And it's just quite disconcerting for beach volleyball blockers who are more used to people either running in straight off the left side or creating an angle. But he just drifts like an indoor player.
Another short jump serve, another well-handled serve from Alayo, who is one of the most tireless players on the Beach Pro Tour. He'll be served 75, 80% of the balls. He'll be served short, he'll be served deep. He's running up, he's blocking, never tired. And there's Alayo, big celebration after a huge block on George.
Celebration indeed, and George just having a little bit of a look through the net. It's always interesting to see those little games when players get blocked. Do they stand there? Do they get frustrated? Do they turn away in anger? Do they start fighting with their teammate? George usually just dissipates a bit of the energy.
And Diaz just the delicate touch with the cut shot. The short baby cut, he put Cuba up 5-2.
And I tell you what, if the world wasn't already on notice about this team from Cuba, coming in off a transition and cutting the ball for Diaz, that is just nothing short of terrifying.
And big swing from George, too big. Goes wide. As George came into this match siding out 60% for the tournament in a hole right out of the gates.
Well, again, we've talked about it before as well, but imagine siding out at 60% and not playing your best and still finding yourself in a semi-final at the Elite 16.
That is how high level this Brazilian team is. And there's Nazem Diaz again, making a dig down the line and a huge swing in transition. Cuba is all over Brazil.
Been seeing right from the outset as well, just from point one, huge celebrations from Cuba. Sometimes they're a little bit, just a little bit chilled out. It takes them a while to celebrate, maybe just a while to get that intensity, but they know, again, not only for the Olympic race, but to beat George and Andre every single point, they have to bring the energy. George and Andre, just one of those teams that saps the energy from you. George, he doesn't, I mean, he can hit hard and he definitely does, but sometimes he just off-pace things, chips around, just hits a little bit sharper than where you're standing and doesn't celebrate, and all of a sudden you're down by 4 points. Cuba's like, no, we're not letting George and Andre. They might beat us, but they're not going to do it by just chilling and just coasting. Cuba going after it today.
What I love so much about this Cuban team, among many characteristics, is that in the final in Recife, they were playing Evandro and Arthur. When Evandro had entered a mode of playing I'd never seen a player get to, finished the tournament with 37 aces. Well, Cuba started getting into the crowd's face right off the bat. It was a packed crowd in Recife, and they immediately started getting the boos, and they loved it. But I think they realized early that it was a bit of a mistake. We're a little bit more quiet in Sakurima, but now in Mexico, they have the crowd's favor. They've been getting it into it every single match. And that's an excellent opportunity again for Cuba. Brazil have been working so hard for just a normal side out.
Well, have a look at George just literally highlighting the ball over a block off a paradise ball. That's just extraordinary ball skills as well. But yes, I think everybody in their career just has to once realize that firing up anything to do with a Brazil player or a crowd is usually a mistake.
And Andre almost gets that one to go. I love the speed offense that they run for Diaz. A lot of people might think that running that nice high towering set for a bigger player is the way to go, but I love the kind of ball 2 balls above the antenna where Diaz is still able to just pick it off at the peak. And George bringing some gas on that hard angle swing. Settling in now is George.
And I like as well from Alayo there, just sticking his hand up. There's so many reasons players have done that over the past. Julian Prosser, pretty much the best beach volleyball player Australia's ever had as well. He would always talk about sticking his hand up just like that, just to throw off and just get in the head of an offensive player, and as well, just give yourself some reference. Put your hand.
And the lefty swing from Diaz goes wide. No tool on Andre. And a long, tremendous defensive rally goes the way of Brazil as the momentum starts to sway a little bit towards George and Andre.
George and Andre, if you didn't know what the score was and you were just looking at their face, you'd have no idea whether they've just won 15-13 or whether they're down 21-10. Very cool and level-headed.
And that is an excellent fadeaway swing from Alayo. It's been such an interesting tournament thus far for George and Andre. So they had to come out of the qualifier. They sweep Mexico, sweep France, end up beating Bartos. I love that little note from the coach. End up sweeping Bartos, Wojciak, and Michał Brill. And then they are the beneficiaries of back-to-back forfeits. Now, they were rolling ahead in their matchup with the Czech Republic, but it's an odd thing to win your last round of pool play in a forfeit and then your quarterfinal in a forfeit and then have to come in and play a semi.
I don't know whether that would have happened in the history of beach volleyball that late in, well, any tournament. To get 2 forfeits, that is just, well, that's like winning the lottery twice. That's just almost unheard of. Of course, there's forfeits here and there, but to get 2 in the tournament in, as you said, yeah, the last pool game and as well in the quarterfinal. Crazy stuff.
Oh, George just taking some heat from Alayo and handling it. And then the transition swing from 2 to 3 meters off the net. Is anyone better off the net in the world than George Wanderley?
Well, maybe Clemens Vickler in terms of power, but in terms of placement, and it's not just placement. George has this uncanny ability to just sense and know which way the defender's weight is shifting and just always manages to just hit it slightly in an awkward position. Doesn't power anybody from off the net, but just wins so many points.
And Andre is just getting closer and closer and closer. Alayo's playing with a bit of fire. They're bringing in the block of Andre into the fold. I've seen Andre, he just has this sort of calibration period every match, and once he gets the read down, it can start to get a lot of blocks in a hurry. So smooth from George.
Been so good to see the evolution of Andre as well. It's just extraordinary when you come from a country like Brazil and similar to a USA as well, with just how strong the depth is. Andre won a World Championships in 2017, and then he was almost in the wilderness for a few years, if you can believe that, after winning a World Championship, and didn't end up playing with Evandro or going to the Olympics. So now for Andre to have partnered up with George, and I think it's since 2018, they have just gone from strength to strength, and they're now starting in this last 12 months to really see the benefit of playing with somebody for a few seasons, which Brazilians sometimes struggle to do, and just the structure of their defense and offense now, everything is working, and they are just rolling as a team.
Again, George going with that short serve. Again, it's handled by Cuba, but Brazil, ever the models of patience, they go down 7-2, and they just sort of picked a little bit here, earned one there, and they're back within 9-11. One side out will keep them within 1. Excellent dig from Diaz. Oh, and then the soft put away from Diaz. He has every shot in the book. Last year was very physical, swung at just about everything, and now his ability to mix things up is remarkable.
Well, not only with the great touch off the knuckle as well, but whenever we all look at Cuba, always like so dynamic, they're crunching the ball and all the rest of it. But Alayo there had to run 6 meters and then delivered a perfect handset, facing the wrong way, off the net. It was like a tempo set as well. And so they're the little things that sometimes teams who have big swings as well, that goes unnoticed. It's like, oh yeah, they're just 2 athletic guys that just jump through the roof. It's like, well, hang on a minute. They're actually sprinting 6 meters and delivering perfect handsets and not getting called for a double or a carry as well. And those are those sorts of little things that, again, if the world wasn't already on notice about this team, they should be very, very concerned about in terms of a team that could potentially make this late Olympic qualification run.
3 straight semifinals. Should put anyone on notice. Now 4 straight semifinals should put anyone on notice that hasn't been that this Cuban team is for real. They are far from a flash in the pan, and they're just getting better and better and better as they continue to take down one elite team after the next. What a cut shot that is from George. My goodness.
God, I just had flashbacks of George, just me standing in defense and George just pretending to high line it and then cut it the other way, and then he comes in the next point, looks like he's going to cut it, contorts his wrist and high lines it. He is just so deceptive. It's just beautiful to watch now that I'm commentating.
What a rundown that is from George. Perfect timing on the move, and then just a lovely high line in transition.
Again, George starting down the line going, yep, I've run down the line early. I'm going to dig the high line, and then at the perfect moment, breaking to get that cut over. And that's what we mean. When we say George is a genius, that's what we mean. Just pulling not only a perfectly timed, really tricky defensive play, but doing it at the right time just to chase down this Cuban lead.
And Andre is getting closer and closer and closer. The blocks, it feels inevitable. Right now, Alayo's doing just enough not to get roofed.
And you can see just the intensity of the celebration from the Cubans, just a little bit more subdued, a little bit more concern and worry on their face. And, well, they need to keep that intensity up. Every side out, it's a good side out. It's still a really good side out, but the pressure is mounting. Well, there we go.
Sure, the bottom just falls out of that one, drops straight down. I don't know if there's anything George could have done on that.
That is, I mean, it sounds silly. Obviously, every ace is hugely important, but just as we've been talking about, Brazil building and building and building and regathering the momentum, that just, well, pops the balloon very, very quickly.
And it compounds. George sends that one long, and he just looks at it almost as if he can't believe the ball was insubordinate enough to go out of bounds.
Well, something's gone wrong. It can't have been George's arm. It can't have been my arm swing, George says. 2 errors in a row from George. Fascinating stuff.
And Diaz almost there for the scoop. I think the ref had it right. Brian Hebert had it right. The ball was down. Alayo agrees. But the fact that Diaz almost got as sharp of a cut shot as you could possibly ask for, that's a good sign for Cuba that his read is that sharp.
It's always funny when players agree with the referee after they've argued, but it hasn't gone their way.
And it's felt inevitable. And there it is, the first block of the match for Andre Loyola. He has been calibrating, getting closer and closer and closer. And now he's got the read, now he's got the timing down.
And that is such a difficult block as well, especially when the hitter's coming in, facing that sharp angle off the right side. Are they going to hit angle? Are they going to hit line? Well done to Andre, double hand clamp. That ball was going nowhere.
Good break for Cuba. As soon as Brazil has gotten any momentum and starting that build, Cuba's done just enough for taking a nice missed-serve break to quell the momentum. Excellent touch from Wanderley. High line, untouchable, indefensible.
again, when you're in the crowd or when you're a coach or when you're commentating, you usually get a feel for what a player's going to do, maybe slightly quicker than what the players on the court get. But just watching George, I have no idea whether he's going to cut that ball or highline it until after he does it.
And that is a yutty, humongous swing from Nazem Diaz.
That is just a crater that has been left in the sand as well. Bouncing that ball almost over the camera, and the camera's quite high as well on that boom. And that is just, well, terrifying. Don't think Andre will be peeling.
Yeah, pull on Diaz at your own risk. Pressure stays fully on George. Alayo can't believe that one got away from him.
And as we've talked about before as well, George not having one of his best tournaments, and to be fair, he's made quite a few errors in this set, hitting errors and passing errors, but again, good teams, they just stay in touch.
And the trickle ace from George Wanderley. Fake apology. No one's actually sorry for getting a free point.
Yes, we've talked about this many times over the years against players, coaches, all the rest of it. It seems to be a nice thing to do, but if you had a little button that you could press and get 21 net clip aces in a row, you'd do it.
No net clip needed on that one. Wanderley back-to-back aces to tie it up at 17-17. And Damien, this has been a match that's been controlled up to this point through the first 32 points by Cuba, and you blink and it's tied at 17.
And George as well, just again, when a player isn't playing at their best and they're shaking some balls, George has hit some errors, there's a couple of things that haven't gone his way, a lot of players then can't think strategically. The strategy just goes right out the window. But George is like, right, I'm hitting errors, I'm not playing well, but his brain is still ticking over. He's still serving short the whole time, whole set, and then he's gone deep twice. Yes, and net clip got a bit lucky, but then the deep serve in the last minute, that's the first time he served deep for the whole match to bring up 17-17, and that's not a mistake. It's not a fluke that George has done that. So to still be able to hold the strategy that he's been trying to deliver the whole set despite his own side out not going that well, that is just a testament as to why that man is going to find himself in his first Olympic Games in just a couple of months' time.
Deep serve again. More trouble for Cuba. And a phenomenal left-handed poke shot from Jorge Alayo.
What a great sign as well for a fairly inexperienced team to be under pressure. The side-out momentum, the momentum of the match, I should say, is just slightly being pulled back towards the Brazil. And then to have the confidence to back yourself to go for a left-handed knuckle. So impressive.
And Diaz sitting in for that easy pocket swing from George. Odd mistake from George Wanderley. Diaz ready for it. Credit to him for putting it away in transition.
Once again, a very, very uncharacteristic error from George. The roll straight to the defender. Well done from Diaz as well, just to not run up and down, which he could well and truly do, but exciting, dynamic offense, even in transition.
And that is just a beautiful touch shot from George, and he had to put it there. Any deeper, Diaz is going to be all over it.
Whenever there's a gap down the line, the antidote to any cross block line defense play is that short little chip shot.
Fast outplay by Alayo, who again finds the hands of Andre, who's getting frustrated that he only has one block.
Again, it's dynamic, it's exciting offense, but the hand setting from Cuba is just right on point. And they deserve 2 set points.
Excellent touch shot from George Wanderley, and now it'll be up to George to earn a point to save this set. 19-20. It's been George's jump serves that have brought Brazil back into a set that's been out of their control this entire time. Where will he go? Huge swing from Jorge Alayo, challenging George in the angle, getting the crowd on their feet, and they love it.
He was on the back foot in that point. The pass wasn't where he wanted it. He had zero vision, I would say, of what was going on the other side of the net. Great set, and he has just gone for pretty much his hardest hit of the match so far, and what a time to do it. On the back foot, set point up. Big statement from Cuba.
21-19 is the first set for Cuba. Now, Cuba has played, I think, the match of the tournament thus far. It's kind of a tie now with the previous semifinal between Sweden and Germany, but their quarterfinal against Spain was positively electric. Found themselves down, came all the way back, and you would think sometimes just the adrenal fatigue, the stress, the fatigue of playing a full tournament thus far for Cuba. They might look a little bit tired. Jorge Alayo is just indefatigable, just no tiredness ever. He's just bringing the crowd up, ripping balls on set point. Just so fun to watch this Cuban team.
And when you see a new team as well wearing their heart on their sleeves, sometimes they look a little bit frustrated and they almost look like they're having a go at each other as well. And you sort of almost want to go, oh, that's not good. You don't want to go at your teammate a little bit. But they wear their heart on their sleeves, and that's the reason they're in this position. That's the reason they've got so much energy despite what's happened in the tournament. And that's the reason they are able to just, with not that much experience, it must be said, just keep taking it up to the best teams in the world.
George continues to be there on the receiving end of every single serve. Andre has received 0 serves in this match. George, smooth side out to start things off. Just a nasty short serve from George. And that is going to produce the error from Alayo. Now, George is not going to get any statistical credit for that error, but that jump serve produced it.
He wins our hearts, though. That is just unbelievable. That is the sort of stuff you sort of do when you're mucking around in a warm-up with your friends when you're at training. Go, look at how short I can jump. But he's doing it at a semi-final and executing at an Elite 16 level.
Mixing it up the depths, going short, deep, keeping Cuba guessing. That one going a bit too deep. But the service pressure from George is one of the main reasons they are here in this semifinal.
And again, even though George isn't playing that well, he's miscuing a few spikes inside out, he's still able to deliver those short serves.
And Andre has been frozen out of this match, frozen out no longer, taking advantage of the open net option and delivering.
Very deliberate pass from George as well. Not an easy thing to do off a net clip when you're diving forward to lift that ball for your partner. Well done, Andre, ready to help out.
Excellent pass from Alayo down the line. And there is Andre. It felt like a matter of time. He was quiet in that first set, was just collecting data, and now it's coming to fruition.
Have a look at how far Andre has to drift across to get in position for that cross block as well. Great work from Andre.
Excellent read from George. Not his cleanest dig. It's going to produce an opportunity for Cuba. And Damian, you love the tricky offense from Cuba, and look at them go.
Well, the tricky offense is one thing, and delivering the tricky offense with the hand setting, but then to be able to generate such sharp angles. Have a look at this run-up. It's a 2-step run-up, and just slicing that ball so sharp in the angle.
Set was a bit too tight. No problem for George going high angle, catching Diaz leaning towards the cut shot.
And just when, and I can see what Diaz is thinking. Diaz is like, I'm not going to let the cut down. I'm not going to let the cut shot go down. I'm going to dig this hard cut. It looks like a cut shot. I'm there. I'm on my knees. Oh, it's gone over my head. Just, again, and with no cues from the hand of George. So well done to Diaz. He's making the adjustments. He's just got to get 1 or 2 in the set, and that's all he's going to need. And he's just got to keep his cool and not get frustrated.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful shot from Naslin Diaz. Continues to mix up the pace and location of his shots.
Great variation. He's established himself over the past month or so as just somebody who can hit the ball almost as hard and as sharp as anyone in the world. Now everybody knows he can knuckle it as well.
What a scoop that is from Diaz. Can't quite control it. Andre, rare offensive opportunity. Good night.
For Andre to be able to, first of all, generate that amount of power and then that amount of angle while he has a look, that's been a real good development of his game. In the past, over the past sort of 10 or so years, when he's had a look like that and the set's been moving, that's the time where the errors have come and the scuds out the back. But Andre able to have a look and generate a huge amount of pace, power, height above the net, and help out his partner with an ace and a block or two when he's under pressure. Well done, Andre. It's been great to see the development over the past few years.
And more passing trouble for Alayo. Open net swing for Andre. That is not something you want to see if you're Cuba. And George saying, give us a little love out here.
So good as well. Such a good pass from George off the touch from Andre as well. That's not easy to do, set that ball right on top of the net. Well done, Andre. That is exactly what you need to do as a taller blocker who, when your shorter partner is just under siege, whether it be from tough serves, from blocking, or they can't put the ball down, you need to step it up by relieving pressure, by hitting the ball over on two, by getting some blocks, by coming up with some aces yourself. And that just allows you can see George literally just a little bit less tension in the shoulders, just clap his hands, appreciate his partner, and that's nice from George as well, just letting everybody know his partner's doing a good job supporting him.
I think George and Andre are two of the best models of patience you'll see on the Beach Pro Tour. And in their second round qualifying match against Arnaud Gauthier and Youssef Crew, they went down early in the first set, and as you mentioned, you'd never know if they were up 15-10 or down 10-15. They just look the exact same because they know that they're two of the best players on the Beach Pro Tour. They know they're one of the best teams. Their defense is eventually going to get there. They're just collecting data, and now it is all coming due right now as they go up 8-3. Good response from Jorge out of the timeout.
We had a sports psychologist, Tom, who helped us out in our Olympic cycle as well, and he always said whenever he watches us, he just doesn't want to know what's going on by our faces. Doesn't matter whether we're up or down, he always wanted to see the same intensity. Of course, I could never do it like George and Andre, but that was the aim anyway.
And a beautiful, beautiful cut shot. And when you're George in this situation, Damon, and you have a perfect option opportunity for Andre and he doesn't take it, is that frustrating at all?
I think it would be a little bit, but at the same time, at this level, George is used to siding out every ball, and he's capable to do so. So it's not like George hasn't been siding out this set.
Oh, what a dig that is from Alayo. Not often you see an open net opportunity for Andre not capitalized on. Oh, what a dig from Diaz, but he can't quite make it settable. And Brazil wins another long rally.
The set wasn't quite high enough for Andre. Didn't quite have the time to wrap around and maximize his height. So to be able to play that left side push cut, and we'll get another look at it here, hopefully. He just had to hit it off the heel of his hand. Didn't quite have time. End-on-end topspin as well. So that end-on-end topspin just means he's getting a really solid contact in his hand. And just very deliberate play, consistent way to play a cut shot. And again, for somebody who's as tall as Andre, to have that sort of touch and finesse. A very, very good sign for this Brazilian team going into the next couple of months.
Another short serve, putting Alayo on the sand. A remarkable swing with zero step close for Alayo, still able to get the power to go over top and through the block of Andre.
Most players in the world with the perfect run-up and the best jump they've ever done in their entire lives would never be able to OT Andre. And there, off an awkward pass and a no-step run-up. That's just extraordinary.
There's an ace serve for Jorge Alayo, and Cuba now slowly marching back into the second set.
And you can see almost some of the Brazilian coaching staff just laughing, because it's just so rare to see George make these errors. It's probably his third shank for the game. And it is a little bit uncanny almost.
And just the response, so smooth, so calm, makes it look so easy, does George?
Does, and there's lots of different players with lots of different ways of doing it. So Clemens Vickler, very slow, and then a last explosive step. George, very similar. It's a slow, smooth approach, and then a very fast play on the ball. Cuba, on the other hand, as well, come in pretty explosively and then slow down if they need to. And they don't often need to.
Alayo is just bringing serious heat into the angle, challenging anyone to dig it. Very few have been able to handle that gas. Beautifully done from George, going back to that line. That's been a source of consistent points for George. Various types of line shots, low line, short line, deep line, that little baby line right there. George, what a run up that is, and Andre caught into the net. Rare mistake from Andre, and that is a good break for Cuba.
A little bit of rush of blood to the head there from Andre, but that's okay. He's been taking those opportunities and he's been winning points. It's probably his first mistake for the match. So I don't think George would be too upset with Andre just trying to take things in his own hands quickly.
Towering set for George, and it just squeaks under the hands of Alayo. 13-8 now is the lead for Brazil at the technical timeout.
Well, George, we saw it with those two little chip shots and just his arm swings and those jump serves, and it doesn't matter whether it's golf or a basketballer shooting endless threes or a footballer and foot skills, whatever sport it is. Anyone who makes it look easy, you can just bet your bottom dollar that it isn't. And it's just you're watching an artist almost just go about their craft. And George is just one of those players. Whenever I watch him, I'm like, oh, I could probably get back into it and just jump back in the wall. Why can't I just do that? And, you know, I can just chip a little line like that and then a high line that nobody runs for and then just a little off-pace cut shot. I mean, I can do all those sorts of things, but the timing, the speed, the decisions, the hand contact, there's all these little things that go into it that while he makes it look smooth and easy, that is just years of work going into, well, an absolute master of his craft.
The hallmark of any world-class performer is how easy they make their craft look. And Andre gets another, inserting himself into the match more and more and more as it progresses, as the lead grows to 6.
And it's very interesting as well seeing the psychological evolution of a team as well. Brazilians traditionally, they always beat their chest, they get the crowd going, there lots of sort of celebrations and aggressive celebrations. I have no words for this sort of stuff. It's just well and truly at the top of the antenna, off an awesome position as well.
When Alayo gets fired up, he just brings a little extra, a few extra kilometers per hour on these swings. Now Andre receiving a very rare serve. That's George, pardon me. And what a back set turn that is.
And just to finish my point there as well, just about the psychology of this team, Brazil always very passionate, but this team very quite subdued. And when they need to be, they fire up and George starts going to the crowd and Andre gives a bit of a fist pump. But most of the time, they're actually trying to just really suck the energy out of a team that is as passionate as Cuba. They're trying to be really intense. And we saw it the other day with Karambula, who's one of the great, how do we call it, antagonists on the tour if he needs to be. Karambula was coming under the net, trying to stick his arms out, tense, and George and Andre both, without even talking, just turned away, didn't give it any energy. And so when they need, and that's the great hallmark of a team that's mature, they're comfortable in themselves, they know what they need to do. If somebody's fired up and wants to fight, they don't even want to get involved. If they're feeling a little bit flat, or a team is a little bit timid, then they will fire up. They'll do whatever they need to, just to psychological, the great art of war, if you will.
And another big move from Andre, slipping through the wickets, but the read was right. It was just a line block, and whatever Andre saw, it was correct. Jumps into the angle, and just a bit unlucky here.
It's a good side out, but again, you wouldn't feel all that confident swinging through that block too many more times.
And that is a big swing from George, mixing his offense up so well, going variety of line shots, and then bringing some nice speed into that angle.
And probably the only read that George has, and again, very easy for me to sit here and say this in the commentary box as well, is just that little grunt. Just that little grunt a microsecond before he does a hard swing. And I mean, I've seen him sometimes do that grunt and then shoot just to really annoy somebody in defense. But most of the time, that's probably the only read you've got on George.
And where Alayo is able to harness that type of explosive power to the point of a jump serve, what makes it so effective to me is that it takes out the legs of the offensive player, but Alayo's still able to get up and hit it high over top the block of Andre. And that's a field goal swing from George just through the arms of Alayo. Diaz still able to get a touch on it, but not good enough.
Now, this is where Cuba, I mean, fair to say this match is going to 3. I think Cuba will know that in the back of their heads. Now, this is where they have to just start having a think about, yes, our plan is on George, and we feel like we're close to him. We're getting block touches. I'm making the right dives. I'm getting a little touch. Oh, I was so close to that off-pace catcher. Oh, if I was ready, I would have got that line. But in actual fact, they actually haven't won a point against George in quite some time. So is it time to think about maybe at the back end of this second set, testing out Andre, maybe at the start of the third? Because George is one of those players, similar to Todd Rogers from the United States of America as well, the famous Todd Rogers. Every single person who played Todd Rogers was always like, oh, yeah, I've almost got him. I've almost got him. I'll get that one next time. I was so close to that. And then all of a sudden it's an hour and a half later and you still haven't made a dig. And George is very similar in that sort of play. So Cuba's just got a little bit of thinking to do going into this third set.
Oh, the little fake outplay inside. George reading, wrist away. Diaz, again, the nice soft touch with the poke. He's almost going more shot than swing these days.
Yeah, again, an interesting evolution even within the last month of volleyball for this man. And that fast offense as well. It just means the defense, Brazil have to make a move early. So it might look like a very simple sort of standard knuckle side out that anybody could do. But the work has been done from the fast offense, the perfect set, the dynamic run-up, and the defense having to move early, opening that up.
And back-to-back misserves will bring us to 2015. Now, some teams, Damien, they'll continue serving one player for fatigue purposes, especially when you know you're going through, you want to wear them out. But that can't be a factor for Brazil. As we mentioned, they're riding off 2 straight forfeits. And so at some point, that might be an Achilles heel of sorts for a young team where they struggle shifting game plans mid-match when they need to change.
Well, that's another thing that we could probably write a thesis on as well, when to go away from plan A. And it's such a hard thing to do, and you talk about it, you finish a match, then you go back to your coach and they're like, why did you go away? You were so close to getting that player just one more time and you would have started to get that block, even though you hadn't touched them for 10 points. And then other times your coach might go, why didn't you switch? That guy was obviously playing perfect. You guys were nowhere near it. And it's so hard when you're in the midst of a battle to be able to know when to have a go. But I think at almost every stage of a match, the other player should be tested just for 1 or 2 points to see if the pass is gone, or genuinely tested for a block of points. Maybe five serves in a row, or 3 out of 6 serves, just to see whether they are just playing completely flawlessly. You don't want to go anywhere near them. But if your plan A is starting to string together, as George is, 10 really solid minutes of siding out, maybe it's worth trying something different. Nothing changes if nothing changes.
One of my first coaches in beach volleyball, I played against him, and we were just serving him and serving him and serving him, and he sided out probably 6 or 7 balls in a row. He tells me afterward, he says, if I'm playing with God and I start out 5 times in a row, you're going to have to serve God just to get me out of a rhythm. And so I've always leaned on that.
True.
And even if you don't get that point, what it does is there's sort of a resetting factor where now the other player's out of the rhythm, and George comes out firing with that jump serve that has been on point all tournament. But Alayo, the offensive window of this kid is extraordinary.
To be able to generate that amount of power from a ball coming over the back of your head and then still ripping that somehow, still 2 meters into the court, that is unbelievable.
Little matrix move from George, getting out of the way, keeping us tied at 1 apiece.
And you're right, sometimes it's just about getting that other player out of their zone. It doesn't matter if you have to cop 3 6-packs in a row, whatever it might be, or see some craters in the sand or be embarrassed. Just throwing the rhythm off from George might be what Cuba need to do at the start of this 3rd set.
And Alayo stays physical, making the right swings at the right time.
Just at the last second as well, it looks like it's going to be an angle swing. It's so hard to defend against.
Excellent set that is from Andre. Big opportunity for Cuba. And there's Andre, a clutch block into the angle. Huge move.
If there's nothing worse than really struggling to get a dig on a certain player, is that when you get the dig, you get blocked on the way back. That is heartbreaking for Cuba. Again, they're playing well. They're well and truly in this match, but that's just a little frustrating moment for Cuba.
Andre was ready for the timing on that one. He's seen that poke shot one too many times and waited and swatted at just the right time.
Andre just about an extra 10% in that jump and that hang. You could hear the grunt on the effects mic as well. He knew it was coming, as you mentioned, Travis. Just getting a fingernail to throw that ball down.
Back-to-back blocks for Andre. Coming alive at the net, helping out George exactly when he needs it. A big serve down the seam. Trouble for Cuba. And there is an error swing on Nazem Diaz. He has been just about perfect this entire match and has now given away 3 straight. Cuba wasting no time with the timeout.
It's just, well, it was honestly hard to actually see the ball. It was hit that fast. It was genuinely hard to see. So, again, just those little things about Cuba are so impressive. For Alayo to just be on hands and knees and still just deliver a bump set, the touch off his arms and the ball control from this young Cuban team. And they've only, I mean, I know it says statistically they've been playing for 5 years, but they've only played one, a couple of junior tournaments. That's just their one tournament. It's really only been the last 2 seasons, and not even full seasons. I'd say only this season's been pretty much a full season, of course. But often when teams explode onto the World Tour, everybody after 12 or so months starts to figure them out a little bit, whether it's the Vikings or Sweden or whoever it might be. People start to just figure them out a little bit, and they have a little bit of a lull. But Cuba, they might have just timed this perfectly in the run-up to the Olympics. I don't think teams are going to really get a feel or a read for them. And usually at this level, it takes about 6 to 12 months to start to develop a strategy that everybody in the world employs. But Cuba, they might have timed their run perfectly to have a big impact come Paris.
Andre, again, another touch at the net. It's just going to be a free ball coming in. And no touch on that one. But again, Cuba, they're having to work just a bit harder for every side out now.
Andre hunting, but just good awareness from Alayo.
And George has just been almost perfect the last set and 8 points now for Brazil. And you just have to wonder, when is Andre going to get his first test in serve receive? Because the ball hasn't touched his platform in what feels like about a month. Andre again. He is ready for the short shots that Diaz has scored on so many times. A third block in this third set alone. Andre has as many blocks as Cuba has points.
He definitely had more blocks than side outs for this match. And again, it's just one of those things about serving Andre. As soon as you serve the mental overload starts with concentrating on siding out, it just takes away just a little bit of edge of blockers as well. So maybe Cuba starts thinking about testing Andre's platform and just starting to take away a little bit of it. Because right now, Andre is just purely focused on setting and blocking. And if we just add, maybe if you were Cuba, if we just add maybe one more thing he has to think about, he won't be as devastating on the block right now as he is right now, I should say.
Raining down chance for Cuba. They have the crowd anywhere they go. And there's the first serve for Andre. And it spells trouble. What a turn that is from Alayo. Second go at it for Andre. And it is wide. And there's the first crack in the armor. One serve received. 0 for 1 inside out now for Andre Loyola.
Well, great call, Travis. You called maybe testing out the platform. I didn't even think about testing out the platform. I was just concerned with probably taking away a little bit of venom on the block. But there is, as you said, the first chink in the armor. Where will Cuba go now?
Andre, more trouble on the pass. No trouble on the side as he waves the crowd quiet. I absolutely love it.
And just when needed, Andre looking for a bit of external motivation as well, just starting to get outside himself, and that's not a bad thing either. Again, psychologically the right thing to do when you're feeling, oh, I shanked one, the pressure's on me, then going outside yourself. Well done, Andre.
Both teams now switching tack. George serving Diaz. Oh, the drop shot picked up from Alayo. And Alayo, does he get the hands? Yes, he does get the hands of Andre. And Alayo getting the crowd back on their feet.
Well, for most people, when they have a little bit of a miscommunication in their offense and the set isn't in the right spot, it usually spells a little bit of trouble for the hard hit, but not Cuba. I don't think he was expecting the set there, but still able to generate a huge amount of power was Alayo.
Pass now cleaned up for Andre, but the dig from Diaz still able to get a hand on it. Brazil working hard, and there's the throwdown block from Alayo. The double angle defense works out, and he is fired up.
Oh, you love to see it, getting the crowd involved, doing a few chants, the monster block throwdown. And what's required to throw George off is a double up in defense. There's a good fake. Whether it was deliberate or not, or whether it was just a bit of a mistake in transition, it doesn't matter. Showing George something different, crucial.
Oh, what a cover that is. Another good touch at the net from Alayo. This match has entered electric territory.
It hasn't for George. Again, not probably the intensity of a Brazilian chest bump that we've come to expect from Alisson and a few of the others over the years, but just a little bit of a subtle George one. Both Andre going to the crowd with a no, and George with a little bit of a chest pump. They realise now's the time to inject a little bit of adrenaline and energy into this little outfit here. Fascinating conclusion coming up.
We remain tied. These are the matches that, when you're training, these are the ones you want to play for. These are the ones you get fired up for. Night match, last match of the day, semifinals, everything on the line. Tremendous crowd, tremendous beach volleyball. This is why we play. And massive swing, well handled from Diaz. Alayo can't chase it down.
Andre, because of his really short load, it's almost like Guto as well, just a really short load, he has to use a lot of his body to get that power as well. But even for Andre, you can see that little bit of extra crunch in his abs as well. He really wanted to hit that one hard, leaving nothing on the court now.
Good read from Andre, getting off the net. George with the pickup. And the delivery. No, it's not delivered. George's second time is good. What a phenomenal backhanded dig from Noslin Diaz. Unbelievable stuff.
There is no way. I was like, oh, that's a really good effort. Always good to go for the ball, you know. But I thought that rally was well and truly finished. There was no way I thought Diaz had the speed, the speed in his legs to get there. That is an extraordinary dig.
And Diaz, he's been caught a couple times by Andre with the short shots, now breaking back out the physicality.
Yeah, he's been knuckling a lot, as we've mentioned in this match so far. He did have an error on the angle swing, so at this stage of the match, important just to re-establish a couple of big, powerful swings.
Trouble on the pass for Andre. Phenomenal set, but it is a huge block from Jorge Alayo to tie it back up at 10 apiece.
Brazil pleading with the second ref, but there was a net touch. The second ref didn't even bother. He already turned around to check the scoreboard to tell everyone to go. I think that it was probably the ball.
I didn't see net touch on that replay. It's always worth inquiring of the ref if they hit the net.
Always.
Diaz all over the cut shot for Cuba to take the lead. And it is taken. I love that back flare offense they've been running. Has worked out time and time again.
It is so disconcerting anytime a team runs a really fast, low back play, let alone in transition. Teams are always sort of just hustling in transition to try to set up, even if it's just a line block and a cross defense, a standard defensive play, and the defender usually has to hustle to get in position. But then to have a low, fast behind play and then have to try to set yourselves up, it really takes away your ability to chase that ball, which is why those knuckles are so effective. But I could talk all day about all that sort of strategy and all that sort of stuff, but it is all out the window in the last 5 or so points of this match. It is just all heart, it's all intensity, and if it's all going to be just on, well, potentially intensity and heart, you'd have to say Cuba, with the momentum of the crowd, they could take this one away.
Their new target, Andre Loyola. Now, they are not one of the best teams in the world for no reason. Andre has won a world championship, as you mentioned. They are going to go to the Paris Olympics, one of the best teams on the planet. It is a question of composure and consistency at this part of the third set. Does Andre have it? Better pass this time from Andre. And just getting that one over the left hand of Alayo.
Alayo is just really hunting Andre's angle, and Andre doesn't really care at the moment. He's just trying to hit the ball as hard as he possibly can. So he's playing a bit of a dangerous game, but he's just backing in his height, which is good to see. Who's going to crack first?
A thumper from Alayo, dug unbelievably well from George. And then George with a clutch swing and transition.
The calmness and the poise from George to get such a dig and then wait back. So many players around the world, including myself, whenever they've got a bit, they just storm towards the net. George dug, set himself up in the middle, just took a breath, and then came in with perfect timing, huge amount of venom. That is a big, big play.
I cannot get over the control he had on that dig. Alayo packed more heat on that swing than he has this entire match, and that was George's most controlled dig of the entire match.
And that might just be, I mean, it hit him in the forearms, but it might have just rattled something, just taken a fingernail off. Who knows? That is just extraordinary to be able to put your body behind that. And as you mentioned, Travis, to, well, first of all, get in the right spot and then control it.
And the psychological warfare that induces as well. If you're Jorge Alayo, you got to be wondering, what else could I possibly have put on that ball to go for a kill?
And you're exactly right, but it's important to not start shooting or go away from essentially what's been working for 95% of this match. Maybe that's a very rare side-out drop that George has dug. Andre's blocked a few, but George hasn't dug that many. But it does stay in the forefront of your mind for sure.
Line blocks are the call. And he goes for the swing again. This one goes into the net for Alayo. Fist pumps for George as Brazil is now 2 clear.
And you have to put that there again. George isn't going to get a stat for that, but that last dig is worth 2 points.
Jorge Alayo, 22 years old. Up-and-coming player on this Beach Pro Tour. This is where experience can sometimes rear its head. And another one! A block for Andre Loyola, back into the angle. Alayo goes, and Andre, a phenomenal read, goes straight down. 4 straight points for Brazil.
By far one of the biggest blocks of the tournament so far. Let's have a look on the replay. That is monstrous from Andre. Look at the penetration, the timing, and just the subdued celebration.
We have our first match point for Brazil to march into the gold medal match. George all over it. George Wanderley for the match. Not yet. And he'll have another go at it, and still not yet. There's no touch. It is an error on George Wanderley, and Cuba has life yet.
At any other stage of the match, George would have put that up for Andre to hit on 2. George would have highlined it. He wouldn't have made an error. It's just the fact he was on 14. They still have a couple of chances, though.
And there will be 2 more match points incoming should George and Andre need it. And Andre Loyola, the most unexpected of high lines to end it, and George Wanderley and Andre out of the qualifier and into the gold medal match. 15-12, a thrilling, electric match over Cuba, a rematch of the Soccer Rima finals. All love between the boys. What a